Hello there, YouTube. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. I'm smoking my Missouri Meerschaum, Missouri Pride, with McClellan Tastemaster. Finishing this tin that basically got me back into pipe smoking. Well, I sure will miss this aromatic, but oh well. I have another tin. Maybe I'll buy a couple more. This video was actually supposed to be my giveaway announcement, but because two of my family members went down with the probably same flu that I suffered from a couple of weeks back, and I ended up taking care of everything around the house. I'm just so a little bit rough around the edges, rough around the edges at the moment. Sorry about that. I don't know if it's in frame, but there's just a heap of medical supplies and the inhaler behind me, so but they're feeling better, thankfully. So I have high hopes to make a bloody giveaway announcement tomorrow, hopefully. So, having decided against filming a giveaway announcement, I decided to do the next best thing, which is a shout out and the answer to the previous giveaway that I did. I still have a couple of answers that are just a little bit demanding. By which I mean I cannot just sit down and film a video. I need to get some prep work done, film in some other locations, etc., etc. But this shout out goes to ParsonRick, splendid member of the community, who recently, I think last week, went in and undergone an open heart surgery, which is a major event. I can only imagine the amount of courage the guy has, not only to do such a thing. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, but speaking of this like it's nothing, on YouTube, making he actually made a follow-up video from the hospital in Portland, I think. Keeping the internet updated on my status will be probably the last thing I would do if I went into the hospital. So, ParsonRick, if you're watching this, I wish you a speedy recovery. I hope everything will go well and you will be back with us in no time. ParsonRick was actually a participant of my 100 subscribers giveaway, during which, for those who have joined us recently, I've seen a couple of new subscribers. I thought it was pretty clever to make other people suggest ideas for videos, and I asked the participants to ask me a question they'd like an answer to. Received a bunch of beautiful questions and beautiful topics for conversation. videos, but the one that ParsonRick asked was tough for me. And the question was pretty simple. I must mention also that ParsonRick refused to participate in the giveaway. He said, I don't want any prize, I just want to participate and spread the word, etc. That also, tells you what kind of a person he is. But his question was basically, make a sales pitch for your city and describe what is great about living where you live. In my case, it's Moscow, Russia. And for the longest time I was seriously considering just sitting down, turning on the camera and saying, I cannot do that. I do not recommend living here. I cannot make, a sales pitch like that. Because, as per the living conditions, they're pretty okay and fine. We have all the modern conveniences of a modern metropolis, nothing to complain. It's the people, that put me off, really. Because, Moscow is, because life in Russia is so capital-centric, so centralized. Moscow is just a melting pot, not like any huge metropolis is, really, of different people, different, cultures and aspirations coming together. So many people come here in hopes of, to conquer the capital and earn money and settle down here, and because it's where all the money and all the high-paying work is, and these people bring with themselves this sort of very rough attitude of, life is hard, you should play it hard, and be very, very ambitious and push your way towards your goal. And it leads to, some of people being annoyed, some of the newcomers being annoyed at the ones who have been living here for some time. Some people being very extremely disillusioned with life in the capital. Their hopes and dreams being broken and stomped upon by probably people who came to Moscow a couple of years before them. So this attitude is very unhealthy, and it takes a toll on the Muscovites, the ones who were born here and spend all their life in here. And it's just it takes a toll. So in the end of the day, I decided not to. I decided it wouldn't be patriotic to say there's nothing good about my city. And I thought to myself, well, let's take the bad Muscovites out of the equation, because there are some genuinely great people living here, all my friends and some of my colleagues, people who were just extremely supportive towards me. So let's take, all the bad people out of the equation. What's good? Well, like I said, all the living conditions and conveniences are there. I think we pretty much reached, the world / European / American standard of living. And life in Moscow is not as expensive as in, say, life in Paris. I remember spending a week, I think, in Paris and parting with, a great sum of money. But so the living conditions are okay, the conveniences are okay, all the movies, cinema, culture, museums are okay, if not better than many places in the world. The food is okay, if you know where to look. But what makes me specifically say I love this city is what I call the fourth dimension. We have 3-dimensional world, length, the width, and the height. But there's also time in history, and Moscow is not only a melting pot of cultures and people, and styles, but it's also a mishmash of different time periods, because that's an old city. On the bones of which one city is built on top of the other, and there are, you turn to one side, there's just what I think the Americans call the projects, just the typical buildings that look one like the other. You look to, you turn the corner and here's a building built by the German prisoners of war after the World War II, which is completely different. You go to the center of the city and you see buildings that date back to 18th, 17th century. Buildings that survived, God knows how many, time periods, people, residents, occupants, etc., renovations. I work, at the center of Moscow, pretty much the center of Moscow, near the Moscow River. There are buildings, that appear more or less new, but something bangs into them and you just some of the facade falls off. You see the brickwork that, you know, that dates back to 18th century. You know, you can come up and touch it, and at that moment I I myself feel a part of this incredible you know, hive, for the lack of a better word, you know, hive of people that stretches back many centuries. And that's an amazing thing to me. So answering ParsonRick's question, the great thing about living here is the fact that you are in a way connected to the history of your entire, you know, your entire country and your entire, you know, people. Well, plus the fact that, you know, your living conditions are way better than probably living conditions of the majority of citizens of your country. That helps too. I think I'm pushing 15 minutes already, so I'll call it quits. Wasn't that much of a good answer, was it? But that's the only one I can come up with. So, ParsonRick, hope that answers your question. I wish you once again speedy recovery. Please keep us, you know, updated. We would very much like to hear from you. And myself, I will be back soon with another one of my videos. Thank you very much for dropping by, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye, people.